Frosted Flakes. Like I guess. There you go. Microphone check. Raise this up. About to undo all my hair. Um, Cancel this out. Should be a little bit better. Add it over here. To redo my hair. Just conditioner, wash it. Last bit of braids out. Just keeps my hair back. Dyed or whatever. Have braided up for Thanksgiving. I guess say maybe I will. Either way, I probably have braided the end of the month or something. I don't know. They said she could do whatever. I mean, straight like Ethiopian, African braider or whatever. She could. I mean, all of them are all like wherever in Africa. It doesn't matter like what country in Africa. Yeah, doesn't matter. They're this. It's all good, as long as they're good. You know what I mean? I'm like the last person. I don't really care. Well, I care. I care. And then I try to just push it away. Like, I don't want to say I don't care, but nothing affects me. People are like that. I don't see color. I'm like, no, acknowledge who I am. So, all right, cool. Yeah, you could bond, and be equal, and stand next to me fully. So that's what I'm talking about. It's like, but anyways, I will see how it is. Because I'm like, when money goes up and down or whatever, I'm like, and I don't touch it. You know what I mean? So when I get fiat money coming in, that I go do it or whatever. It's not really fiat money, but it's other money. But talking about then I have to take it out and give it like that. It's just sort of kind of like that. I'll probably be like that for next like I'm not gonna give a range like maybe 2 years, maybe 3 at the most. Might be 6 months, but either way. So I mean, yeah, and like I'm not worried about money ever again in my life, bro. Anyways, I have a broken foot. I'm kind of glad that I have a broken foot. I was like cash register yesterday. I'm not supposed to be out. On my way out, I just wanted to get like a cupcake or something, and told the attendant like go grab me some go grab me some milk and frosted flakes. I'm gonna be up here at the cash register. All right, I called up somebody that went to grab it. You know, got some soda. Once every 2 weeks, I shouldn't drink soda, but um, need something. Anyway, so I don't have a cast on. I have disgrace. My bone condition makes my bones heal like super quick. God, is it painful? Fucking. I thought like, am I just being a bitch, or why am I screaming? I was like, yeah, my bones are sensitive as shit. I could feel it fusing. I felt it fused, and it's fused now. So I'm good. So have when you have a breakage, it breaks like right there, and you have these lateral forces or whatever. And now, but my bone broke like that because it was surgical byproduct of another cosmetic quality of life surgery on my ankles or whatever. And so that trauma caused me to have a stress fracture for last year, and I didn't know why I wasn't able to run and jump last year. I was like, I'm gonna get back to 110%. After this, I'm gonna get like cardio and everything else like that. So that's why I'm glad that it is a stress fracture and that it did break now that it's repaired. Because what that doctor did, he's just like, finally he just said, "Fuck it, yeah, I agree with you." He said, "Well, you can go home with no cast," and I was like, "It's not gonna heal without a cast. I think that's absurd." I literally said, "It's I just know how my bones are, right?" I didn't know why I'm not an ortho. First off, I'm not an ortho, but I know how my bones are. I just state that I know how my bones. Maybe because I have a lot of bones, and maybe because I have a lot of whatever, I could feel it, and I'm more attentive to it. But like, oh, I felt it fuse. I guess that's just like crazy because it's like, how can you feel your bones fuse? I know it's fused. Trust me. I like you could tell. It's not like, they're fused. Not like that, but I could tell they're fused. You know what I mean? That means they're together and shit like that. And finally, either no cast, them putting in hardware, screwing it in, and everything, plates and everything, or they want to have the external fixators on it. I was like, it's like risk of infection. You know what it is? He went from the very conservative way, and the thing is, I'm gonna have that correction, where you would have the external fixators that circle, but mine would be internal. So it'd just be a long pole inside of my bone, inside of my thing, and there's like a magnet. It's a new type of fixator. It's not a fixator, but it's internal, and it just sort of stretches out that bone, like internally, whatever, So, and it just corrects it. So it's a lot better. It's internal. It can't get knocked around. It won't be fucked with. You won't hit it, and it goes ding, 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 and, all the way through, all through your bone, shit like that. That's what I'm gonna push for. So, see the doctor probably sometime this week to put on a cast. Honestly, like I'll probably have a cast until I order a custom boot or whatever from online, and then have that protect my foot for about a week, 2 weeks, and put on the boot. And then I'll have custom ankle brace, right? So what it is, I'm trying to stop the torque movement so my ankles is protected. Because a lot of force or whatever, when you're like this, what I was trying to get at, that once since it's like screwed in, there's no I don't have to worry about it. It's just when it torques like this that I'm more concerned about. And so I just sort of not worried about putting weight on it per se, whatever. But I don't want it to knock into anything, not like going around the corner, that kind of thing. And the 1 in 100 thing, talking about um, careful about it. So I'd rather have that brace right there for next few weeks, and I should be fine, even though it's fused and everything. I want to and give a decent amount of effort and acknowledgement into that 1% possibility of it torquing, and breaking it. It is this cautionary, whatever, but for all intents and purposes, so it doesn't hurt, so I'm out of the threshold. But I think, um, I guess my pain, and then it quickly sort of kind of dies off or whatever. I think that's like everybody, but I think mine's a little bit more accentuated because of my bone condition. And so I think everybody keeps telling me that I heal quickly. I don't know if that's to placate me, to kind, pretty sure it's not. Pretty aware of it. I pretty know how damaging it is, and I have to I keep saying the nutrition. This is why I keep saying about nutrition. My body has to be so attuned to nutrients inside of myself because of this. Because my body rebuilt itself at a rate that significantly faster than other people. And if it doesn't have those building blocks, it does not rebuild how it's supposed to be. Don't mistake people who are skinny or who are built or whatever having really good perfect health and everything. They pay attention to it, and do everything, and they work hard at it. Hard at it. They don't like that, but paying attention to the other things they need to work on, their position, not as good as they're supposed to be. Are really diligent, and some of them are very genetically, and I'm very genetically lucky in some regards. And in other parts, this bone condition I am not. Healing, yes, very grateful. And I know it's other in bones that I do heal, but say that it's like instantaneous, like Wolverine or whatever, more like on a ratio sort of percentage, 30, 50, but hesitantly between 20%, maybe up to 40% most people. But that being said, I have to have the proper nutrition building blocks there to rebuild it. Very evident in my bones that even if I have every nutrition there, it's still not going to, my body compensated by, like, here's normal bone, and here's my bone, about twice as thick, certain locations, and not as a different structural side or whatever. It sort of knows that it needs thickness, I mean, a certain density, more or less, and it's highly imperfect. But when I was younger, it's a lot better because it was a lot stronger. It's more concrete, you know, very dense. And when I played soccer, my guy, like the kids just, if I started to kick, they would just run, don't hear that guy. And I am in like the suburbs of Jersey, outside New York, kicking, I'm talking about. I was definitely, yeah, I was goalie. I was a striker, kicker. I was everything, and I grew kind of fast, so I was about as tall as everybody else. It's only like like when you hit 11, is that your growth spurt? That's when you start to verge and everything. That's about as tall as everybody else. Why I know, like, I lost a couple inches having Paget's that bone condition. So I'm not gonna say I lost like 6. Could be up to 6, more like 2 or 3, maybe 4 inches. But I know I could probably get 6 inches out of this bone lengthening healthily. And I think more than that, I don't think it'll be uh proportionally, or it wouldn't be like that, maybe a little bit more. Um anyways, I probably would have my arm also. So I have long arm, very long arm for my size. But which is very good in wrestling. Well, I was pretty good. I literally was in I had a few varsity matches at 8th grade. I was in JV at 7th grade. I was in JV. Um, I was JV, and then when I think Jorge Cruz, he made varsity. Uh, Dominican, Puerto Rican, Georgetown, outside of Georgetown, town, maybe a little bit in the suburbs, Georgetown area. Um, he made varsity, and I used to wrestle off, so sometimes I beat him out. Had a few varsity matches, so it was always based on competition. For, but he was a lot better looking than me, so I had acne back. So he was always we had basically the same facial structure. We looked very similar, but he didn't have acne. I think that's why they chose him. So we always just sort of wrestled it out. and it was always kind of this very very close. We were very close. We were very, 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 very good friends. Um, back in the day, seventh and eighth, oh God, back when I didn't know anything about anything, I didn't care about, like white, black, sort of lived or whatever. I look back on it as like my tight friends, where I was like really aware of society, we just naturally, darker skin Latino, Dominican. And plus, it was a gifted school, so you had really good interaction. But anyway, so I have long arms, and it helped me out in wrestling. So I'm doing good, bone wise, and I'm, I keep saying 110. I will get there. So now I know why I was not able to jump or run. And now the doctor literally said after listening to me, like, yeah, fuck it, I'm just gonna use those bones together. They screwed it in with the place super tight, so now they're super compressed and they healed and infused. And so this week I'm gonna say, yeah, I'm gonna go for the correction of bone. So you can barely tell unless you really literally look at it. Here, see, that's my leg. So unless there's like muscle and I have on top of here, whatever, you can see that slight little thing. So you would think normally you would think my bone is like that or whatever, but it's really like a D. So just yeah, that little slight. So military doctors, them being military, very super diligent. And they're like, yeah, we should just correct that. We don't care what the cost is, and that's what it is. And honestly, like in a few years, if I wanted palladium inside of my fucking bones, I could do it. I'm talking about. I'm not gonna say I could do it now, but I think that's probably the most healthiest thing to do because the bigger bones are, the more they produce of what's in the body or whatever. And some of the things they produce in the body is not exactly healthy, and you create strains on your internal organs. And I'm not to a weight level that it is concerned, but it is definitely the long term, the cumulative effects. I'm a little bit slightly attentive to it, and I am concerned. I'll say it outright. Concerned about it, just because of the fact that it's something that could be, addressed or whatever, and taken, it could be removed from what my body needs to deal with, and everything you could do that just makes your body efficient. What I'm trying to state in short is that if I have some kind of after its correction, you want to protect that work, and so I put like this um, platinum, and above that it'd be palladium because that'd be more precious. Right? Rod in there, be like super thin, just in the center of the bone, and you remove the vegetic bone. You could clean it out really. Um, that's what would probably be ideal. You clean out the vegetic bone or all the, 'cause it's sort of like a benign tumor kind of thing, you know. Then you have healthy bone inside of there, and then whatever the bone is producing that's not healthy, you're removing it. You're destroying that damaging bone or whatever, right? And putting in a solid piece of metal that's non corrosive. It's not titanium because titanium would only last 10 years. Palladium, platinum, and iridium will last your lifetime. So once it's in there, it's in there. And now you have strength and it reduces what the bone creates with it. And a lot better. Um, that's probably the route that I'm going. I was going to talk about society, about the Rittenhouse thing court. So I don't know if I will touch on everything I wanted to, but um, it's from my point of view. I think like me being seaside, coming down from North Jersey, basically what I guess what my culture would be. My dad being from the Bronx, Italian, um, Puerto Rican heritage, grandfather going to Puerto Rico, and me being adopted into it. That's why it's really hesitant me to say I'm really much of anything I guess growing up, so many people they say, they say you're Puerto Rican, and after a while, it's like, okay, you know what I mean? But it's like so many times, but no, I'm Native American. Native American. Like I'm hoping it's like, Navajo. It just, I want the only people that listen to it is Puerto Ricans. Like, fuck, man. Like, so, but anyways, it's just, it's just one of those things. You know, I think it's funny. Mike Santos, you know what I'm talking about. Crazy. Danny Jesus, rest in peace. Like, and it's just like you just can't win something. Like Tale of Two Cities, like in Seaside, We live Latinos live like this. And then get all surprised my mom's all have blue eyes and shit like that. Crazy. No, so I guess my culture people actually want to know. Me, I guess technically if I grew up in San Antonio was it where's everybody at? The streamers. Is it San Antonio? Is it not Galveston? They'll converge in like one town or whatever. Anyways, that's where I was born in not Houston. Oh god. Anyways, no, some place right off San Antonio. Anyway, so I guess I would be Texan. I wouldn't really be Mexican. I guess I'd be they call them Mexicans in Texas, and then Mexico. But I like we don't have the same behavior as culture. With I guess I would be that Texan. I grew up there. I grew up in Jersey, so I'm Italian. Don't really see me saying I'm Irish or German, even though I am, but I'm not because look at me. You know what I mean? So kind of weird. But it's funny because when you're hanging out, you pick up with some dumb shit like, from moms. And trust me, when she starts going off on everybody black, Puerto Rican. I gotta go. And I'm growing up. Oh my god! Oh my god! My friends come over. It's like so that's why I always usually to say I'm Italian. And then when I left Jersey, I said Puerto Rican, and they don't know the difference. Don't know the difference. Um, I don't know, man. Try to be cool with people. Creates a bond. Creates a bond. You know what I mean? Bring people together. You gotta do. Everything. Like for real. Yeah, so I mean, I'd rather just be ultra real, like throw exactly what I'm out there. Navajo, Hopi, Indian, and create a bond. I'm Mexican, Puerto Rican, Italian, German, Irish, Native American. Definitely have a lot of African, Black, urban influence also. Just trying to bring everybody together. Try to reach out. As much as possible. But I think then moving down to Seaside, Tom's River, I would like to think we suppressed racism for um and now when I call back up, you could see how that environment changed. I guess we used to say like we lived in a totally different world, even though you had really rich people living right next to us. And I'm from like middle class to lower middle class. But God rest my dad's soul. Is Italian ass drove Peter all the way up to Patterson for his job. The only people that would give him a job. I always thought like Italian racism was bullshit. Sometimes or sometimes going in and out of it, but it was real. His factory workers were totally chill. In textiles, making wallpaper and everything. wallpaper actually wasn't on it. You think it's not vertical? They make it on these long sheets and everything by hand. By um, like the one white guy that was mid-level management, never higher than mid-level, wouldn't be raised up. Um, everybody, black would put overseas, and they were just super chill when I came in there. I was just young, so friendly. But he held that job down. Dude. Very hard worker, you know what I mean? I mean, I can't like that's why I always kept my name from being Minatolo. It's out of Naples, So it's like a Sicilian, and you meet your extended god uncles and everything, and you read about them later in the newspapers, stuff like that. In the 70s and 60s, the crazy stuff, and I don't know. So you can't really fault. I can't like my dad was just very hard worker. He had a limp in his leg, and just a very good person. Never did anything wrong in his life. And so me to keep Minatolo, I had to keep an aspect of that Italian aspect of it, but I'm Latino because when you leave Jersey, like I said, they don't really know that you're Italian. But when you're in Italian community, they don't know that, and Latino community, it's just very seamless or whatever. But um, when you leave Jersey, it's just like, what's that about? You know what I mean? It's just, and so just to make everybody this, all right, that makes sense to everybody. Um, that Sicilian, Italian, specifically the Cathedral of Naples was called the Minutolo Chapel. They went on the Crusades. Uh, against, I guess it was against, Muslims, pretty sure when they got there and they realized all the chaos and what it was about, came back. Came back really rich and they built a cathedral, very moralistic minded for the community, and built the Church of Minutolo, became the Cathedral of Minutolo, the Cathedral of Naples, Italy, the city of Naples, Italy. Minutolo's, and you see the Minutolo fresco of the Knights Templar. Literally, the Knights Templar. It's called the Minutolo's of the Knights Templar. So I was like, how could I honor my dad? And while people just be like, oh, Latino, you know, I didn't ask to have this Bronx Jersey accent, these mannerisms, how I grew up, So to take that away for someone that put food on my table, can't do that. So that's why I changed it to Templar Rios. So Rios is plural, Templar is two. The Knights Templar always traveled into so Knights Templar Rios. So Spanish, but still Italian. So if you know Spanish, I know more French and Spanish. It was sort of hopefully ring that some connection more than it just being a romantic language to Italy or whatever. And it means Minutolo technically means boiler, and they're very technical oriented, I guess, back just before the Middle Ages or whatever. But um, since Minutolo is synonymous with Knights Templar in certain circles, in educated circles, that I kept the name, but it makes more sense to they see me. Oh, he's dark, I'm back. So it all should be seamless. And like I said, Mediterranean cultures in Sicily, Spain, always have a connection with a lot of and I always wanted to keep that, touch of the touch of that. But that's just the Spanish, Portuguese side of me. Definitely more than half native, depending what the DNA wants to say, 40 to 60, whatever. When you're like half, I think a lot of people are like, oh, I'm half Indian, oh, I'm quarter Indian, 5%, 10%, or I'm half Indian when they're like 10, 15%. So what do you do when you're literally half? I'm obviously, if you knew who I was in Jersey, I said I was full. That was the hustle. That was, but now that hustle is now full on gaslight and shit. So, if I have to be that person, I have to be that person. To lay it down because who else outside the reservation? You know what I mean? It's just like they get the luxury of having those little intertribal family, clan, little rivalries with everybody outside. You don't know what's out there. And that's why I said when I moved down to Seaside, I think I've suppressed, racism for a time, even though I say, it was a tale of two cities or whatever, That's when I see something. So, like, two seasides, Tom's River, two Tom's Rivers, But I think our interaction really made people be a little bit more attuned. People of color, Latinos, light and dark. Um, I guess back then, like hip hop, pure, go away, how they feel about, changing society, about bullshit, all about, power and individual. And I guess, there's a lot of crime and, there was gang involvement, and all that stuff, no doubt. But overall, the culture of it was to change society for the better. When you get older, you learn how to do that better. Um, and so, what a few people thought back in the day, I'm really glad that the majority of people of New York and Northeast, every city really, really, I guess when people would be really kind of like uh, derogatory towards it, but this we all basically feel that, in the culture, I mean, I'm trying to put myself in their shoes. We don't need to put ourselves in their shoes because they made their position known. So you don't need to do that. You need to relate. You need to communicate with people. You need to build bonds. You need to have conversation that furthers the rest of the community. You don't want to give voice to the people that just want to disrupt those bonds between people that can further society. Like you always be like, well, what about this, that, and the other? No, I know what you're trying to do. You're trying to give weighted position and time to uh what you feel. You know what I mean? And that doesn't build connections. You know what I mean? Just being real and honest. Because when you go up the chain, you're gonna find people that are that can identify, genuine intelligence and everything. I'm talking about this people want to deal with. Um. So, anyways, back to the beginning. With all society. So we used to be just a few people, plurality of people within the New York area, and more of every city. And this feels like there needs to be something done, because when everybody has more equality, our country is more efficient. Because if you look at people as a resource very autocratically, that if they can fulfill what their goals and their dreams, all benefit. You know what I mean? If they can't, then we don't. You know what I mean? As That's how you got to look at it. Society is very basic. Just look at us as cogs, simplistic like that. You remove emotion. We'll be more efficient if we use our people at the exact same as everybody else. You know what I mean? But we're not. We're not robots. People, we have emotions, passions, and dreams, and they should not be segregated or separated by artificial means, right? If you look at Germany, right, it's very autocratic and very diligent, very scientific, and it was, it was just, and having those city states during the Holy Roman Empire at the very end of it. What did Voltaire say? It was never holy. It wasn't Roman Empire. But what happened with all those interactions and going against each other? When people are violent, what happens is people become very rational, very pragmatic, real quick, and they start writing down and how people's behavior almost like an algorithmic type state, especially like um can't think of it, von Clausewitz or whatever, um when they defeated Napoleon, whatever. Um War is an extension of politics by their means, or whatever. But he's very diligent, and how he wrote about the fog of war and how it evolves into people and interrelations is almost as a mathematics, right? And so my point is, when you have these highly dynamic interactions with other people, you want to analyze it as much as possible. Basically, what happened in Japan built up a culture very scientifically oriented, and this is what I'm getting at. Around the 1880s, slowly that really precise nature of their as it was unifying, things started to creep in. Racism, very slowly, they didn't even know about it. You see how that rational mindset was corrupted by people very diligently rationalizing racism. They got Hitler years later. Um, Tragic. And the thing is, like, we don't want our system, as we evolve as a society, being a bureaucracy very diligently trying to rationalize racism, trying to justify it by trying to circumvent society by instituting racism, by saying we're not instituting, you know, because we are instituting. We do have institutions, even though we're arguing that we do not. You know what I'm talking about? So this is what's happening. Slowly, this country was founded on genocide. Country was founded on slavery. Um, it just from the very onset, our founders were imperfect. They wanted us to push and remove all that racism. Um, you know what I'm talking about? So we were doing that gradually. We don't want to backstep into that. You know what I mean? So we don't want to have racism gradually creep back into our bureaucracy in every aspect of what we're doing. It won't make us as efficient as a country. You know what I mean? That's what I'm getting at. I mean, we just can't. This war created people who, by and large, emboldened a lot of other people who shouldn't be emboldened. When I call back up Jersey, like people who really wouldn't do better than to like be hard. We're emboldened, and the thing is, like, when you go to war and the military ingrains this type of morality into you, you know what I'm talking about? Right? You know, some people want to be like, oh, you know, they made all fucked up people and everything. Let's be real. The military instituted morality, and some people come back and they go, into their own little worlds or whatever and get all fucked up. But at the time there, they're good people. And the chaos of war is what it is. You know? And unfortunately, when you come back, these people who needed to apply that strength and morality, um, and willing to deal with anything the world could throws at them into the economy, anything the world could throw at them, and they able to overcome that and deal with it into our economy and build our economy. They weren't able to do it for whatever reason. You know, either we failed them, the VA failed them, or whatever, and that happens to a lot of people. Um, and that is really good when that happens. They have all that, you know, all those extra abilities are into the economy, you know. And sometimes that doesn't happen to a lot of it. That's not what I'm getting at. I'm not getting at any veteran or whatever, you know, going off on a, you know, having no troubles. What I am going off on is those veterans that are struggling, right? Other people see that. They see like that attitude, like they can handle anything. And other people do not have that morality, haven't had those experiences, apply that unrationally to politics. So they enter a political argument, political interaction, or some kind of social interaction with those politics of being emboldened by what they just saw someone else does that's struggling, that's trying to understand the world, you know? And that happened by and large en masse. And so, like, fuck it, you know, I don't give a fuck about this, I don't give a fuck about that. And they're struggling, and then other people pick up on it, and you got these really unrationalized type of behavior, QAnon and everything that emerged from it. And especially being in Seaside, I saw it, you know, outside New York, you know, you kind of have to deal with a lot of different things, you know. You got white people trying to pull the rug from under you no matter what or whatever, and everything. But you just sort of know, you just know when your interactions, you're very pragmatic because every decision you made has to be very rational because your friend's health is on the line. I guess at a certain level, if you reach a certain level of understanding and everything. Um, and so you do employ a little bit of gaslight and hustling, 80% real, a little 20% of gaslight. Just how 80-20 rules, whatever. But people see that 20% and they elongate it out to 80%, if not 100. And you just see some crazy shit back in the ANC side. Now, sort of new the eminence and growth of that gaslight. And then on top of that, you had people coming back from the war. And that was like a founder, you know, just it was like a catalyst for that little bit of gaslight and saying I don't give a fuck, whatever, you know, people struggling. I could do that. I'm emboldened, whatever, you know. Um, and it's just like really you have no room to speak about any of that. It's just like how can you never had the balls back in the day? Now you're coming at me saying this, whatever. It's like you know it was just like it's just crazy, whatever. But they know that it does have traction now. You know what I'm saying? If you just say a little bit of something, some minority is going to back down or whatever. But the demographics have changed in Seaside, and that's what I see. You know what I mean? But when you get a lot of people that kill people, thusly, and have pride, justly, whatever. And so they want a piece of that, and they can't have a piece of that, so they have to use. You know what I mean? And in the end of the day, you really do you want to know what it is to have people's blood on you that tried to kill you? You know what I mean? It's like, do you really want that? And what happens is that, like I said, after a while, your mind goes into this really irrational, pragmatic thing, dealing with people. You know what I mean? You're not trying to, you're not trying to. It's just not about power. You want to do what the right, you want to do what the right thing is. You want to understand it. You want to know about life, how to deal with people. But other people just see maybe that respect or whatever, and they don't, since they didn't have those experiences, they see people struggling with it, and then on top of that, don't understand that in the end, those people will come back to a sense of rationalization about everything that happened, very, very pragmatic, and they want to be able to better themselves, and there's a different way to do that. I guess being through therapy or whatever, you sort of see that, and you see that's why you see a lot of people give back to society, um, be in nonprofits and stuff like that. You know, just be a good public, servant to other people, and with Samaritans or whatever, because they want to do good, because they're a good person, and they want to make sure that they're here to help people, bring people up, because what they had to do was extremely violent. And so you come back to that, but other people don't know that pathway, right? So they see people struggling, and all they see is this chaos of people, and they want a piece of that. And it's very frustrating, because if they have that, they would see, they would give back, they would be altruistic. Don't get me wrong, you want to be smartly altruistic. The people also reciprocate, because you want your help to be effectively taken advantage of, so they build themselves, and everything. But you got people coming back, and you sort of saw it, and they struggle. And other people pick up on that, because they're like, yeah, well, they respect him, but look how he could just like push away some of these other social things or whatever. But the thing is, what that individual did and what you did, two totally different. They already had that morality of whatever you're struggling with. You're over here, and you want what they achieved, but you're not that person. You know what I mean? So how you address your social politics, whatever, needs to be taken into account, that you don't have the experience. It's really frustrating. So it's almost like a low key of appropriation of what people have achieved. You're not those people. You're not, and it happened a lot in white community. And you see it in the Black and Latino. Like you see, like people were like fake gangsters, this other shit, and whatever else. Like something like a lot of white people want to like call Latinos and like that. Um, I mean, unfortunately, we live in a very violent society, Latinos. You have to deal with things. It is, and but other white people want to give it this perception. I mean, it's just like you just have to deal with it. And if you're cool with people, you want to be polite. You want to be chill with people. You want that to be reciprocated, right? You want to have that luxury of white people. But even if you're like that, you have to deal with shit instantly or whatever, right? But and that's the kind of thing, like you sort of saw some of that, like when you're growing up, or when I got back from, you know, when I called up a little bit. That's some of the emboldenedness. I was like, you would never really say that to my face. You always would say it probably over here, or whatever, you know what I mean? Because, like Latinos, we travel in our own circles, and unfortunately, our rap is with each other, sometimes Irish, and it's always other people who butt in. They give us different perceptions and shit like that, you know. And that's and it's those people that butt in that would never butt in. It's just like you see this heightened, you know, after the war and everything, or during the war. I was like, it's you're not those people. Like, why didn't you join the military or whatever and just learn? You know, I mean, and you know, like me, I'm dead ass honest. I had Paget's. I made it, and that pain couldn't maintain it after a while. You know, it is what it is. Wish I could do more. It is what it is. You know, either way, I'm glad that it changed my life from thinking about crime and it removed. You know, even before I went in, I was like, man, if I never had to do anything wrong in my life, I'd take that in a heartbeat. I think that's literally what I said. You know, I still believe it. Still ingrained in me. But unfortunately, being dark skinned, you have to, even if you want to be a pacifist, you have to occasionally, you know, uh, use some aspects of the Constitution that you don't want to. Fuck, man. Because otherwise, it just more shit, you know. But like, you know, it is very frustrating. But one day we could all be pacifists, whatever. But war was here before we were alive. It's here now. Be here after we die. So I don't want to be like you ever have to you know, defend yourself, whatever. But getting to the Rittenhouse thing, you should have never went there. How do you never put yourself in a situation where you're gonna lose a court case, where you have to take someone's life? You don't put yourself in a situation where that would potentially be the outcome. And now I'm gonna be very wet on you. Why, you know what I'm saying, why were we in the situation be? Why were you the focus of that attention in the court? Were you looking for trouble? Now you're getting to a lot of gray areas. And in a white person to a black person, be like, why are you carrying a weapon? That is probable cause. Black people can't carry a weapon. Latinos can't carry a weapon. White people can. I'll give it to him that in those few seconds, you know, he was an immediate threat. Someone could pick up that weapon and shoot him instantly. I mean, any sane American with a gun pointed at them would have ripped out that weapon and shot him. You know, any person, because now they're a threat. So it's a really gray area. And this is one person that had blood, people trying to kill them on him in American soil. You know, so all right. So his life is in danger. Fine. You know, he's off. All right. So we have to acknowledge in American society that people coming back from the war and in other instances like this, we have killers and people like that in our society. And it's up to us as a society to not push us under the rug, but to push them towards the center of how to properly interact with people. He cannot be on the left or right. He needs to be a moderate. We have to do everything we can to get him as a moderate. A lot of people on the left or right claim they're a moderate, and they're not anything but. You know what I'm talking about? I say I average out to a moderate, but I have definitely some left and some right. You know, I'm very hawkish, and I have very socialistic type of programs like healthcare, primarily healthcare, housing and stuff like that. But it basically averages out to the center. You know, I'm talking about economy is definitely a little bit right. I know it sounds a little bit different, but I think people should have food, shelter, and clothing. at a certain level, and then their motivation, everything about them could push them up to greater heights, but I think they should have at least that solid foundation. I guess that's very socialistic minded or whatever. But I don't, I would love to be a pacifist, love to be. And I was for a very long time, but it's just sometimes you have to be real, and I definitely lean towards that. But it's just like I said, I'm all, we have to defend our country. It's what defends our way of life. It defends our democracy. I'm talking about that. But there's a better way to go to war. Culturally asserting ourselves as a country is better. I'm talking about. It's like if your way of life is better, then you shouldn't have to enforce your will on other people. And I'm definitely not the person. I do not enforce my will on other people. You know what I'm saying? I can never do. Like you open people's mind if they want to accept it, then so be it. And it's just totally ingrained into me. And I'd love to have it reinforced into me, whatever, just how you gotta be, and it just brings so much peace to you, whatever. Want people you're good, boom, done, you know what I mean? You're not trying to change who they are, and you're not allowing people, no matter what, to change who you are. I'm talking just laying information altruistically, brilliantly given to you, influence to you, whatever. You gotta be very attentive. But if your culture is the best, then people will accept it. And so that's what you want to do, like Cuba, if you want to make that a part of the United States, they have to want to become part of the United States. I'm talking about. So, and even in Afghanistan, you let China build all those dams and roads and all those big mega projects. Let us, because our culture is superior to theirs, music and everything else, I'm talking about that will have thousands of brilliant minds with their smaller companies, but be real with them. Yes, we'll argue with them, be assholes, but I'm talking about they get to be assholes and real with us, interact with us, and with China just telling them this is what we gotta do, boom, boom, boom. And so you want to be having our culture push out. And what is our culture? Honestly, our culture is a lot. It's from the cities, New York. Where New York goes, the rest of the country goes, the rest of the world goes. It's like a city state, a nation with unto itself. You know what I mean? So very grateful that I lived there. Um, and Manhattan was like my backyard, Rockefeller Center and everything. In the Christmas time, think about it. And I'm like, very thankful. The greatest city in the world. You know what I mean? And just anyways, so that's how you do it. You become the best people. You create the environment where people become the best they could possibly be. Create the environment where you bring out the best they could possibly be. You know what I mean? And you create these consensus. So I don't want to say I know what the best someone could be. You all know what the best someone could be. You out there. You know what I'm talking about? You influence me. You know what I mean? Talking about you have to bring people into this um, way of thinking that is eclectic of everything. It's just talking about it's not on the left, it's not on the right. It's just something that builds bridges to everybody else. We have that obligation because we have these people coming back from war and in the court systems that have killed other individuals, whatever, that are in our society, and we have to make that extra effort to bring them how to deal with people correctly so they don't kill people, and other people's lives so they could bring the best who they could possibly bring into our country. I mean, so they could build our country. It's just, we can't hide it. We can't push it on the rug and be like, it doesn't happen. Like, everything's perfect. No, man. You just saw the court case. It is what it is. That's what they rule. That's how it is. Not going to change. You need to go out to be like, now it's can't be Nazi. We can't have killers at the head of Nazi. We need to come back in the fold and be for all of us, white, black, all of us. It is. So black people, Latino people need this. We have no choice. If you want all the people who are coming out of jails and prisons for white people to incorporate in society, then you can be like, look, we have every right to be. We have every right to be part of society. We have every right to have a business. Don't tell us we don't. Like I said, we use all of our people. We'll be a better country. And none of us are pussies. You want to say we want to use that gaslight, that QAnon shit, because we don't want to deal with people or guys, gay or whatever, whatever QAnon shit or whatever they say about me. You know what I mean? It's like that's not gonna. You're pushing shit on the rug. You don't want to deal with. Be real. You know what I mean? I mean, like half the time I'll be like, I mean, it's weird. It's like you could tell. Like me being Latino, I like curved girls. I like a big chest. Sometimes you meet white people and I want to say like some fucked up QAnon shit to me or whatever. And when I was like, like this big. And then they're like, well, like I'm supposed to be intimidated when you're this big. And I'm not a big guy. I'm like, and they pretend like Samoans are gonna have their back. I'm like, I'm cool with Samoan. All mine. It's just like most of the time, whatever. Keep walking, whatever shit, they won't intervene. I was like, okay, what I'm talking about. But that's the only thing they have. The only thing they have is the gaslight and talk shit. Don't I'm talking about this. Say you don't like me. Say you don't like my skin color. You know what I mean? You know what I'm talking about? And I'll be up in your face, be like, I'm native. I have more native blood than you do. All right? Shut your mouth. You know what I mean? And that's the only thing that's gonna happen. I mean, it's like, you fearful of me? For me to tell you what's up, I'm talking about. I mean, what's up? Would just be real with you. You know what I mean? So I'm just like the next person or whatever. And what's there to fear from me to embarrass you a little bit? You know what I mean? So whatever. Maybe instead of saying shit way behind my back and typing it on a computer to Pinky Sparkles or whatever, some Filipino bullshit or whatever, that you got to acknowledge that I stabbed and shot my way up to the top of Puerto Rican society in Jersey, and you're faking to be Puerto Rican, and I know that you're Filipino. Because now I also know that you're not poly either. Not because if you were, you'd be cool with Samoans, you'd be cool with Tongans. I lived in Tahiti, talking about. So you're afraid to be embarrassed. That's all it is. Don't say, we can't deal with them. The cool people will interrelate and I'll be cool with. It's all these other bullshit motherfuckers, the 80% of you are trying to hide and bullshit and manipulate and try to do that gaslight or whatever. And what it is really that I'm going to tell you what's up, might ruffle your feathers a little bit, that you're actually this fifth generation Filipino. What's the big deal? What are you afraid of? Truth? People, man. You can't transport yourself back in time to, back in Jersey. You know what I'm talking about? It's like, it really was not even a big deal, man. It really wasn't. I don't know. So you just gotta stand on your own 2 feet to be proud of who you are. Just keep achieving. Keep building yourself who you are. No gaslight's gonna do that. And living in a closed society of Hawaii um doesn't make you realize it doesn't build the type of character that you need in the mainland. And now I know that the people in Vegas, as soon as they move there, and I've been told repeatedly that they're sort of shocked. They love it and they hate it. But the people that make it, what I'm saying, they get it. They leave that bullshit of that Hawaii local racist shit behind them, you know. So, but honestly, it's like it's minor to me because I've seen the extremes, highs and lows in Jersey. Absolute love, and I seen, you know, no matter what you say, what you do, you're hated, you know. But to have people even jokingly and realistically bend the knee to you, it stays with you the rest of your life. You know what I mean? It makes you think. You know what I mean? It changes your mindset about a lot. I think that's what helped me out in the long term, you know. The biggest high in the world is people's respect, you know, and you want to obtain that right way and build these connections with people, um, build everybody. You know. We have that obligation and we do that. Americans are not pussies. We reach out to other people, you know, I'm talking about. And we don't have to hide who we are, um, and just look at people and don't say, I don't see skin color. Just say, we need to do because it benefits all of us. It'll benefit me, it benefit you, it benefit my neighbor, benefit our whole country. So we need, you have no choice. It's the right thing to do. I'm out. Peace.